Hi guys. I'll probably wait until 7:02 to really get the ball rolling. Good evening. Good to see you guys here. Well, how are you guys? I know you guys had a jam-packed first real hands-on lab today if you were Tuesday, Thursday, and Monday, Wednesday. I saw you guys. So I'm running on empty. I'm on like a quarter of a tank. I had my nursing assistant clinicals this morning. We weren't in a hospital yet. We were just doing like lab stuff, like practicing on mannequins. But it was still up in McFarland from 7 in the morning till 4 p.m. And then I had to run a couple errands. And now I'm here. I'm at home and doing good. We're gonna do it. So bear with me if you were with me on Monday, I might talk faster on Mondays than I do on Wednesdays. Yeah, trust me, these things work. These things work. But yeah, I like I said, guys, I'm gonna give it till like 7:02 just in case anybody's like, oh shoot, and then has to join. So that we don't start and then backtrack or whatever. But if you guys are here, if you guys could do me a favor and go ahead and type your name and your student number, the @00 number, that would be perfect for me. Please go ahead and write those down. Hello, hello. Let me see. Okay. Yep, we got a few more coming in. I'll go ahead and just write this down really quick. And then we'll get a move on. If you guys are just coming in, if I could have your name and your student ID number, the @00 in the chat, that'd be perfect. Sorry guys, I have to write all of these down. And it is hard because I am dyslexic. Let me double check to see if anybody else is in meeting being admitted here. Because I have like the weight room set up. I might ditch that later on. It's proving to be a hassle. because I don't want people to be accidentally left out and I'm just talking and I don't pay attention. All right. While I'm finishing this up, how was lab today? And how were you guys feeling if you had lab yesterday? How do you guys feel on the material so far?
It's a lot. Like we combined 2 and 3, I believe. So
Mhm.
it was kind of, and then she started with 3 and then went back to 2. So I was kind of.
Yeah, lab, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna be able to, as the year goes on, as the semester goes on, kind of know, okay, I'm doing this, and this. Because the first few labs, you're like, okay, I want everything to be perfect. I want my technique to be good. I don't want to mess anything up, right? So when you're plating, you're gonna be like, like surgery. But eventually, as there's more things to do, your technique comes more naturally. So it's gonna feel kind of the same, like, there's gonna be a lot every time. Because you guys are gonna be basically starting a lab and finishing a lab in the same day. Because you guys have, like, let's say on Monday you come in, you do some plates, you're also looking at the stuff you did last Wednesday. Or if you're Tuesday, you're coming in doing more plates on Tuesday, looking at the stuff you did on Thursday. So it's hard to stay organized, and I understand that. But how are you guys doing with your technique? Did you guys feel comfortable with it? On Monday, I reviewed it, but I can go over it again. There's no shame or harm in it. I mean, what would you guys like me to go over?
So for the CBAS, the CBAS. So we have to describe each letter. So CBEST, like each colony is gonna have a CBEST.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you plate your things, here, I can share my screen and maybe look up some examples to give you guys a bit of a clearer idea. Let's see. Can you guys see if I open a new tab? You guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look up E. coli. Something that we could just look at. Okay. That's not very big. This is a bit. So if we look at this one, right, you kind of see the technique. It's a little bit different, but if we were to look at this and CBEST it, what would be the color?
White.
Yeah, white, and sometimes they come out translucent. You're gonna see like a pukey yellow color, and on different plates there's gonna be different colors, but that's for the future. Just on a TSA plate, usually they're white, translucent, or like a yellow gross color. So that's our C. So now we're gonna look at the borders, right? So what do these look like?
Circular.
Yeah. So there's gonna be circular or regular. There's really not much in between, I would say. You're not gonna have like a square colony. That just doesn't really happen. So that would be our border. And then elevation, like I said on Monday, pictures really doesn't do it justice. So you kind of have to be in person to see any elevation. But don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure they have like a little bit of a curved elevation. I think what is it called? It has a special name. Man, I'm being a bad pal. Bust out my stuff. Oh, by the way, this is the amount of work that you'll have in this semester. Be prepared. This is lab, lecture, and notes. So, but let me bust out my microbiology Bible and look at some of the CBEST we did.
Oh, your screen is showing.
Hmm?
Your screen is showing. I don't know if you're showing us something.
Oh yeah, I was just showing you guys a plate. But it's meh. It's not the most important thing ever, but it was just an example to have if you guys wanted a visual. Let me show you guys. Let me see.
So on one of the questions for the case study is like providing a colony description. Is that this CBEST thing
Yes.
that I have to do? Okay.
Mm-hmm. That whenever it's going to be colony description, colony morphology, those are one and the same. So those will always be CBEST. But let's see. Oh, okay. It's just called raised. I think this E. coli is just raised. But again, don't quote me on that. So that'll be our elevation. What about a texture?
Shiny or wet.
Shiny or wet? Yeah. That's a good one. Then that'll be just all we need for texture. And then I kind of jumped. Size is the last one.
Now for color, is it going to be like on the lab manual? It says color needs opaque or translucent. What I can see is white. So if I write white, like let's say for example on the quiz or a test, would she want the color white or would she want opaque, translucent, or colored colonies? I don't know if you get my question.
Yeah. So translucent is like, what is it? You know, like a plastic water bottle? That's translucent. You can see right through it and you can see you can see definite forms through it. Opaque is like, you know, like your frosted glass, right? When you look through it, you can kind of see forms and colors, but it's not exact. But colored colonies are solid. They're a solid color.
So if it's colored, we just name the color.
Yes, it can be yellow, white, it could be a lot of different colors depending on your plates, but I promise you, you're gonna second guess yourself, like, is this white? Like, is this yellow? Do I know what yellow is? But I just take a deep breath and you're probably right that yellow is yellow. So that's just CBEST for you. So any other, I know you guys probably will have to memorize this, but most of the time when you see bacteria in general in the class, it's going to be, it can vary in size, but it's mostly going to be circular or, yeah, it's mostly going to be circular. But later on in the class, you'll be growing what's on your hands, and that gets nasty. That's where we get some of the other funky things going on. And also for your unknown report, which you don't know what it is yet, but you're not given like oh, it's E. coli. It's kind of like the case studies, but it's more in depth. So you will actually get a swab that's supposed to be from like the patient. So if they had like an abscess on their arm and pus was coming out of it, then we would give you a swab and you would plate it and you would see what bacteria grows and then CBEST it. That is where some of the other types of borders come in, elevation, things like that. So yeah, you'll use it all in the class. It's just probably this first couple of weeks is going to be just circular, kind of getting your feet wet. So don't freak out. You're not going to see some rhizoid thing, right? Not right off the bat. But CBEST is pretty straightforward. And I mean, you know, try to go away from the lab manual and like give your best shot at it. And that's going to be like I'd say that's the most helpful thing to see how you're learning, is to like look away and try to wean yourself off of the actual material to see, you know, because in class is the time to learn. So if you don't understand something, then, sorry. But if you don't understand something, then it's a time to ask questions. It's a time to give your best guess. And more likely than not, you know, your table partners aren't going to like, you know, sit here and listen to you say something wrong. They're probably going to be like, maybe it's this, like, maybe we should go ask the teacher, you know? So, yeah, for the CBESting, you're going to need it. You're going to use it all the time. So any other questions on like CBEST or anything like that? I'll go ahead and close this. I also have a whiteboard if we need to draw anything out, like how to label plates. Do you guys feel pretty comfortable on plate labeling and things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Here, let me see. Yeah. It's one of those things that it's pretty simple. It's just remembering everything. But, and your streaking technique, you guys feel good on that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, you guys are, it sounds like, oh, sorry, go on.
Did you take Professor Todd's last semester or before?
Yes, last
Or
semester.
did so the lab handouts. So did you would you recommend filling it up during class, like during lab class, or would you recommend doing it like on your own time at home after lab?
I would say do it during lab. And what you'll do is you'll fill it out during lab. You'll come back to that information the next time you guys meet. So you'll write it out on Monday. You might continue it into Wednesday. So you're going to refresh yourself throughout the week. And then what, I don't want to, you know, jump too far, but for exam 1, for any exam, you'll probably want to go through all of these and highlight the big ideas. So like summarize the CBEST and the different things that could be under the colony size and things like that. So hopefully you review those things. And I believe, I don't know if she's revised it or if she's taken it out or what she's done. But I believe that there will be a basically like, you know, like learning objectives for each of the labs. She'll basically put that into one big document of all of the labs that are going to be on exam 1, 2, and 3. So you can go through, say, okay, I need to know how to CBEST, right? I'm going to go back and be able to CBEST and kind of mark off that skill, right? So fill it out during class, because also if you go home and you're like, oh, like I don't remember how to do this from class, then you know you have to either wait on an email, wait to come back to school, or something along those lines. So that's what I always did, was I would do the lab in class, scan it, and upload it right when I finished in class, because I also didn't want to forget to do it. That did happen once. I was like, oh, I'm so tired, I'll just scan it when I get home, and I forgot. So that was not a happy day. But oh, on another note, sorry, I almost missed a chat. For the micro project, do you think it's doable by yourself? You can do it by yourself. It's going to be a lot of work, because what happens is a lot of due dates line up, and you know, you'll be working here, you'll be working there, and you know how Dr. B already grades is like, you know, you're graded on the work that you said you were going to do. So, you know, the micro project can be about something that you're learning next week, or it can be something you guys learn on the last week of school. It could be something like really niche, or it could be something more broad. It's kind of just depends on what you choose, you know. So I would recommend that you do it in a group. You'll find the dependable people. You'll be able to do it and get a good group going. If you just want to do another partner in the class, even, it doesn't have to be your table or the table you're in right now. You know, if you just want to pick one other person, that's great. One thing that I did, because my group had very varying schedules. So like I would work night shifts and go to school during the day. So I would come home at like 2 or 3 in the morning and I would have to do homework, but nobody else was awake to do homework. And I wasn't really available during the day any other time. So there was no time to meet up to do a physical 3D model. And so we just did a pamphlet. That way I could edit it in my spare time and they could edit it whenever they wanted to. And we would collaborate at the end of class to make sure that we're all on the same page. Because that was like 5 minutes that we could spare. It just depends on your personal situation, what you would like to do. And, you know, I also contemplated just doing it all myself, but trust me, it'll be easier on you, especially if you're taking other classes, just to do it with somebody else, at least one other person. But back to what I was saying about the manuals. So the lab manual, 100% must have. The lecture manual, if you already bought it, it's nice. You can fill it out as a little review. But sometimes it's just not accurate to the lectures and it's not accurate to what she teaches. So I learned that the hard way. I tried doing it as a review for probably the first 2 exams, and it was just eating up too much of my time, and it was all information that was kind of just being regurgitated at a certain point. So I ditched it, and I didn't see a major impact in how I performed on grades, quizzes, tests. I didn't see anything like that. So if like you have the lecture manual, just see if it works for you, if you like it. But a lot of the time, it's not going to be information you cover. But yeah, I would also recommend, if you're a slow writer or if you like to write everything down on the PowerPoints when she goes over them in the mornings for lecture, to write it out the day before, maybe the night before, and then follow along in the morning. Ask engaging questions, you know, type it in the chat, unmute yourself. She's really cool about it, I promise. And she will 100% answer your question. And if she doesn't answer it 100% how you wanted the answer to be, you know what I mean? Like you ask a question and it's kind of like they answer it, but you already knew that part. You're looking for another example or explanation. She's okay. She is more than willing to go back and say, oh, okay, let me clarify this part. Or, you know, so if she doesn't answer it right the first time, you can ask her again. It's okay. Don't feel like you're stepping on anybody's toes. This is the reason why we're both here, is to help you guys figure it out and learn. But annotations in the margins, writing down maybe questions that come up, but things like that, yeah. Is there any other questions in terms of like study habits or any other general questions?
The study guide for the the study guide for the lecture, the one on her Canvas, there's a list of questions, pretty much study guide, and I've been doing it and it's pretty much based on the lecture. Do you think that's going to be on the exam, those questions, or?
So Dr. B is very particular about her exams. She makes 6 versions. She never reuses them. My exams, you'll never see the light. They'll never see the light of day again. So you'll never see maybe a test I took or any of my peers took. She reworks them every year. And that being said, she also doesn't pull from any of the Jeopardies. I don't know if she included those, but she doesn't pull from any of those things. She might pull ideas, but they're not going to be exact. So you can answer them as good practice to see if you can recall that type of information and see if you can work through something like that. But those questions aren't going to be verbatim on the test. I can tell you that for sure. She is very anti-cheating, not that you would, I'm not accusing, I promise. But she's very like, I need my tests to be secure. I need them to be very indicative of my students' capabilities. So she makes them a very even playing field. And one test is never easier than the other, I promise you that.
So would you say taking notes off the PowerPoint directly and then just going over those, would that be the easiest way to learn the material? Or since you said the study guide wasn't exactly what she says or anything like that, so would you say the PowerPoint is more effective?
PowerPoint's 100%. That is, if she says it out loud, it has a very good chance of being on the exam. If she says, oh, I don't know why this is included in the PowerPoint, I probably won't test you on this, then that's also important. Like that's one thing you don't need to know. But if you go into the book, I'll also say that, you know, the book is good. I mean, you can read it if you like to read and if you learn better that way. But I would rather have you read the actual PowerPoint slides because that is what she 100% goes off of. The lecture manual goes off of the book more. Has a lot more fluff, has a lot more information you don't need. And it has like some of the stuff you do sprinkled in. So if you really want to look for it and find it and just answer the question to write it down one more time, you can, you know, but if you're on a crunch for time and you need to basically make every second count, just look at the PowerPoints and you'll be okay. But another warning that I'll give you guys is that the questions aren't like A&P. Like if you took A&P or if you're currently taking A&P, it asks more about your understanding rather than memorization. So if you can describe to me how a process works or why something does this or why it looks this way or how it acts, then you'll be in good shape. But if you can just list, if you can only list like names or things like that, yes, if you focus on the PowerPoint, you'll do, I'm not guaranteeing it because it depends on how you look at it. But if you focus on it and you try to absorb all of the information, then you will do good on the lecture portion of the exam. I'll highlight that as well. The lab portion is going to be 100% what's in your manuals. It's literally going to be like, okay, this lecture, sorry, I'm mixing up my words. This lab portion of the exam is going to be labs 1 through 14. It's not going to actually be, I think it's like lab 1 through 7 is what the first one is, but don't quote me again. I don't know if she changed it, but let's see. I hope this doesn't end in 40 minutes, but what the heck? Sorry, my my Zoom is like upgrade to Pro. I want to upgrade to Pro. What the heck? No. Okay, well, if I get kicked out, and if you guys want to talk a little more, I'll just restart it. Yes, lab section, lab manual, lecture, PowerPoints. That's where all the information is coming from 100%. Yeah, no problem. Is there any other, like, anything like, pick my brain? Yeah, no problem. If you guys,
Well, at the lab number 3, there is one question I didn't get. It was for the
Mhm.
broth culture, in regards to the broth culture. So the
Mhm.
pelysil, flocculent, turbid, and sediment. So I'm trying to find out where I can find that in Canvas. Because she went over it in lecture. Yeah, she did. But then I didn't get a chance to write it down. So I'm trying to find it in Canvas. Can't find it in the lecture notes. I can't find it in any of the resources she put. So I have 2 questions. If we
Mhm.
don't know answers for the lab, where can we find those? Because I know it might not be in the lecture part because it's in the lab part, right?
Yes.
And number 2, can we go over the pelysil, flocculent, turbid, sediment after?
Yes. So, for lecture, for lab, there are lab PowerPoints, and she goes over those in class, and she does upload them. It is so if the information that you're specifically looking for is in there, but I think, hold on, let me share my screen again, because I have, I'll just show you this one. It's fine. This is my homework. But let's see. You guys are gonna look at my dashboard momentarily. Because I do still have access to my microbiology portal here. So for the turbidity, this is what we got. So if there was no turbidity at all, that meant no bacteria, no growth. If it was slightly turbid or cloudy, that meant that there was some bacterial growth, and they don't strictly like oxygen, and they don't strictly like they don't strictly like oxygen, and they don't strictly not like it. Let me answer a question real quick. Are the exams going to have a combination of multiple choice and essay questions? Yes. So similar to MP, you're gonna have your, like, probably, I want to say, like 45 multiple choice, and then you're going to have three essay questions. They're not going to be super long. Usually those essay questions, maybe, like, I think she said something like 3 to 6 sentences. It just depends on if you can answer it. If you need more sentences, that's fine. She's not going to dock you down if you're going to use like 10. But as long as you get the information that she's looking for onto the paper, you're going to be good. She'll also give you partial credit if you only got some of the information. If she's looking for A, B, and C, you only got A, B, then she'll give you 2 out of 3. But that'll be the lecture, and then the lab portion. You'll have some practical things. She's not going to hover over you, but you're going to have to answer some questions about what you did in the practical environment. But back to the turbidity real quick. So the flocculent, those are going to be aerotolerant anaerobes. So I do have my notes in front of me. So aerotolerant, they tolerate oxygen. That's it. For back to the turbid really quickly, they're facultative anaerobes. And then for the pelecyl, I don't know, I am very bad at pronouncing things, but those are going to be your obligate anaerobes. Those are the ones that like it. They're on the top where the oxygen is, right? And remember, we kept these caps a little unscrewed so oxygen could get in there. And then sediment is like, I don't want anything to do with oxygen. I am, sorry, I'm an obligate anaerobe. The other one's an obligate aerobe. Be careful. They're two very similar words. Don't tell me why science always does this. But clear is no growth. Turbid is going to be facultative anaerobe. Then we have the flocculent, which is going to be aerotolerant anaerobe. Then we're going to have the pelecyl, which is the obligate aerobe. And then we're going to have the sediment, which is the obligate anaerobe. Did you want me to write that out? I can. I can do the whiteboard thing.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah. I don't know if she has these in there, but you can like Google them. I'm sure that something like this would pop up. But yeah. Let's see, I have another chat. In lab 3, can you explain a little more about advantages and disadvantages of using different kinds of media? Of course I can. Media is going to be your best friend. So obviously broth, you can see if they like oxygen or not. That's going to tell you what type of metabolic processes they're wanting to do, right? So if you use, because this is a type of media, if you use a broth, it's going to show you one of their metabolic processes. If anything, all media shows a metabolic process. So a TSA plate shows plain growth. That's not a selective nor a differential type of media. That's just media. Also, I really don't want to talk and then my Zoom kicked me out. So I'm going to end this one here. But if you guys join again, it'll kick back up. I don't know why it's doing it this time and not last time, but bear with me. I will stop this one and upload 2 different recordings. But I will be right back. Join using the same, let's see, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-digit code and the same password. It'll be just a second. Okay, guys, I'm very sorry. I wish this wasn't how it had to be. So we will be back. Brief intermission. If you guys want to join at 7:42, 5-minute break, 7:42, and I'll come back to media. Does that sound good for you guys?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, 7:42, and I will be back. Okay. Okay. See you guys.